welcome this August gathering here. My name is Madhu Nair. I am Chairman and Managing Director of Cochin Shipyard Limited. And with me, my co-convener, Mr. A.K. Mehra, who is Deputy Chairman of Kolkata Port Trust. Just as a quick introduction, I'm a naval architect and been with Cochin Shipyard throughout, been the CMD over the last 5 years. And Mr. Mehra is a... Can we have
Good afternoon. This is A.K. Mehra, Deputy Chairman, Samaprasad Mukherjee Port, which was erstwhile name is Calcutta Port. I was having 20 years of service in the port sector, being a civil engineer by profession, and is involved in many port development projects across India, 3 ports, Kolkata, Visakhapatnam, and Cochin. Thank you. I will be a co-coordinator for this session. Thank you.
Thank you. To set the context, just a few words from my side, and then we have a short video. But essentially, the Maritime India Summit is to set the tone for certain discussions, especially in the background of a very ambitious, atrociously ambitious target, which India is setting under the Maritime India Vision for 2030, under the visionary leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, and ably led by Mr. Mansukh Mandavia, the Honorable Minister of Ports, Shipping and Waterways. In this large theme, which encompasses everything under the maritime side, today this session is focusing on 3 distinct themes, which is shipbuilding, ship repair, and ship recycling. And first of all, let me profusely thank the members for being here. I couldn't request for a better panel here. 10 eminent speakers. We have international speakers, and we have our Indian guests. But the whole target would be, as India opens up with a very clear targeted vision for 2030 and beyond, how can we bring in the global angle into India? How can we take things forward in the spirit of Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat? Atmanirbhar is a quintessential Indian word for, if I literally translate, it's self-reliant India, but it's a bit more than self-reliant because it's also about the human aspirations. So it's about Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India and the vision of the Maritime India Vision 2030. Let me have a short video to set the context. Vicky team, can we have the video? Yeah.
India, with a rich maritime history, is one of the oldest shipbuilders in the world. The world's earliest known dockyards were built in India, in the Harappan port city of Lothal, Gujarat, back in 2600 BC. History indicates that the Star-Spangled Banner, the US national anthem, was composed in 1812 on the ship Minden, built by the Wadiyas in India. The second oldest ship in the world, HMS Trincomalee, also built by Indians, is afloat even today in Hartlepool, England. India is also known for the traditional Uru, arguably the biggest handicraft in the world. Urus being built in Baipur on the northern coast of Kerala is considered as India's maritime trade with Mesopotamia. The world moved on and witnessed an industrial revolution in technological advancements. The shipbuilding industry also witnessed sea changes. There were demands for modern warships and modern shipyards. The wooded ships became riveted steel and later steel-welded ships. The Mazagon dock, built in the 18th century, is still going strong. Kolkata Hooghly Dockyard, a 200-year-old yard, is under revival. Garden Reach Shipbuilders and Engineers Limited, located in Kolkata, is also one of India's oldest shipyard. Cochin Shipyard Limited has pan-India presence. Private players like L&T, Chowgle, etc. are also focused on building world-class vessels. The collapse of Lehman Brothers in 2008 precipitated in the financial crisis, and shipping industry had to deal with its longest recession in history. The ship repair industry worldwide is considered as an evergreen sector with consistent demand. India is picking up strength in the segment with more and more ship repair units coming up on the east and west coasts. India is the global leader in ship recycling with over 150 yards along the coast. Along in Gujarat is leading from the front. On an average, close to 6.2 million GT is recycled in India every year, accounting for around one-third of the total global business. The Hong Kong International Convention for the Safe and Environmentally Sound Recycling of Ships, adopted by the International Maritime Organization in 2009, has also been adopted by India. The country is now undergoing a transformation with the introduction of the Blue Revolution, Sagarmala Scheme, Shipbuilding Financial Support Scheme, Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, and inland water transportation initiatives of Government of India. A growing Indian economy, favorable government policies, a long coastline and growing seaborne trade presents a huge business opportunity. The growth drivers for this sector include low labor cost, availability of a skilled workforce, robust domestic demand, and a growing steel industry in the country. The Indian maritime sector, and more specifically the shipbuilding, ship repair and ship recycling industry, envisages an exciting and buoyant times ahead, riding on the Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat initiatives of the Government of India.
Thank you for the video, and that is context. We are here to discuss these exciting times ahead of us in shipbuilding, ship repair, and ship recycling. And I think we start these discussions with one of the leading groups from Europe. We have Damen Shipyards, and can I have an introduction to the Damen Shipyards by a video?
We get it. We really do. That drive to get out there, to navigate these oceans, to somehow make the impossible possible. The drive to be out there with you 24/7, hand in hand. We have always been your beacon of trust. We have set the standard and are innovating since. We've spent generations perfecting our craft to understand what the world needs. And what you value most. From ownership to use, sustainable, on board, and offshore. At the start of every generation, we are already thinking about the next. Because the future depends on the choices we make today. And we never just build ships. We provide solutions that safely benefit your business and the planet. Together, we set the course for next generations. Now you tell me what makes us go out there and navigate these oceans.
I'm sure there's an ocean of possibilities. We are talking about one of the largest privately held groups in the world, more than 40 yards. And we have Mr. Mitchell Hendricks, Director of Sales of the Damen Shipyards. And he manages all activities from India eastwards to the international dateline. He's also joined by Mr. Rabian Bahadur, who handles this part of the world. Warm welcome, Mitchell and Rabian, to this forum. And I think you have a great group. You are carrying forward the legacy from today, from Kumar Daman to Arnold. You set the course. You are designed and you're delivering some of the finest. But let me straight away jump to what excites me as a professional here. Daman has seen India for quite some time. And today, when we are talking about an Atmanirbhar or a Make in India Bharat, and when we are opening out to the rest of the world, talking about a very focused vision for 2030, does it excite Daman? This is the question.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for the introduction. And before I answer your question, let me first give my special thanks to Mr. Nair, Chairman and Managing Director of Cochin Shipyard, and Mr. Mera, the Chairman of Kolkata Port, for organizing this event and to allowing us and inviting us for this opportunity to tell something about Dama and to participate in this event during these challenging times. I think you have done a great job to organize this event. To answer your question, of course, we are very much interested in the, let's say, the policies that are currently being developed in India. As a matter of fact, within Dama, we have a division called Dama Technical Cooperation, and that is a division that has already been active since the mid-70s. And with Dama Technical Cooperation, we are able to build Dama-designed vessels at the non-Dama shipyards, and we do this on a large scale, actually all over the world, and also in many Asian countries, and that also includes India, where we have done this concept, especially in the 80s and early 90s, on a relatively large scale. So that is a concept that we have developed and that we are actively promoting, and also looking for opportunities in India. And with that concept, we can provide a design, material package, full material package, partial packages, building supervision, building support, and that can be all kinds of ships, from small ships, tugboat, dredgers, to up to navy vessels, survey vessels, everything that we have in our range.
And would that also mean that like we have a lot of smaller shipyards, what we call the MSME shipyards, the medium, small, and the micro establishments? Would it be possible for you to team up, build a little bit of quality also among some of them, and take things forward?
Yes, for sure. And I think we also have proven references in that in the past, where we helped small shipyards, like you mentioned, to build a ship. Sometimes that also requires some upgrade of the shipyard, upgrade of their facilities, of their qualification, the safety or other certification that is required to build a high quality ship. And we can assist them in that. And many of these corporations have, in a later stage, developed into partners for Dama, where we also build ships for export.
We'll come back to you more later in the session, but one more point I just want you to just touch upon is many people in India are probably not aware that Daman is a big name in ship repair. I presume you have about 15 plus yards. So
yes,
ship repair,
correct.
something which you would look at, are there possibilities you could look at in India?
Well, at the moment, you can also see that when you look into Dama ship repair facilities, they concentrate in the North Sea area. And that is where we have our main focus area at the moment. And majority of the jobs we do are the more complex conversion projects or upgrades from existing ships.
Okay.
And at the moment, you also see a strong focus for the ballast water treatment conversions and the exhaust gas treatment installations. We have not so many activities in Asia on shipbuilding because of the competition from other countries.
Okay, I can see that there is an underlying potential here. We could probably discuss this as we move forward later during the interactive sessions.
Yes.
Thanks, Mitchell. I leave you at this stage here, and I move on to the next organization here. And thanks for coming here right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. And We now next move on to yet another European giant, and this is Fincantieri from Italy. Thanks a lot for this quick video introduction. And we have Mr. Giuseppe Giordo, General Manager of the Naval Business Unit from Fincantieri. Also, Mr. Marco Cerutti on the panel here today. And as I'm sure the naval people on this panel here, Mazagon Docks, Larsen & Toubro Shipbuilding would very clearly know that Fincantieri has been active in India at least for the last 25 years. Recent tanker deliveries into India has happened from Fincantieri. And I can see like this is not just a normal shipbuilding group. They're into equipment, they're into systems, they're on the cruise vessel side, they're on the naval side, and strong on the special vessel side. They're strong on all segments. Again, question which I asked to Damon, when India opens up and when India is inviting business and there's a potential, especially defense, would Fincantieri be teaming up? Would Fincantieri be open to look at Make in India options? And what would be your initial reactions to this? Mr. Giuseppe Giordo?
Yes, good afternoon to everybody. Thank you very much, Mr. Nair, for having Fincantieri participating to this important event during this very strange period, unfortunately, for all the world. And I hope that soon we will have the opportunity to have these conventions on person and not only through the web, as you were mentioning, and as you mentioned at the beginning, obviously, let me say Fincantieri is one of the major groups in the naval business, and let me say the group that recently has decided to grow its presence not only on the ships building and repair, but also in different segments of technologies where we have invested and where we believe are, let me say, the evolution of the technologies in the near future. Obviously, India represents for us a very strategic country. I'm not talking of market, I'm talking of country, because it represents a huge opportunity for us to work the Indian authorities and the Indian companies, not only the big companies, but also the small and medium enterprises, to work on something that we are used to work. So to work on industrial collaboration, to work on transfer of technology, and not to sell products, but to establish strategic relationship, let me say, with the companies and the authorities in India. Obviously, now the cruise market is very much touched by this pandemic situation. As you know very well, all the cruises around the world are stopped. However, we believe that the market will start soon. And we believe that, let me say, there are many applications where our technologies and our products can fit with the market demands and with the geopolitical demands in the area. So obviously, Asia represents for us an important segment. We do believe that the time where you sell your product and service is finished. So we do believe that the real approach is to establish a strategic relationship, is to transfer the technology, is to create more skilled people in the country, so in this particular case in India. And because at the end of the day, I believe that your strategic objective will not be just to cover the Indian demand, but will be really to enlarge your presence in other countries and so in export opportunities for your company. Do you listen?
I was saying this very true, and this is not just about India as we move forward. One point which I would like to ask you now is you are Fincantieri could be amongst the last word in cruise vessel segment. So I think India as a country cannot straight away aspire for anything of that kind. But let me look at something smaller, the expedition cruise vessels, or let's say European grade passenger ferry. Are you seeing some possibilities for both construction or conversions or repairs and upgrades? Could there be some possibilities which we could see as we move forward?
Yes, absolutely. We see many opportunities. As it was outlined before, Fincantieri is present in all the segments of the business, of the naval business. Obviously, we don't build just big cruise ships, but through our control companies, for example, VARD, we build special vessels, and we also build smaller boats for, let me say, for different purposes of the market. So again, I believe it's a great opportunity to work on these smaller shipbuilding or repair activities to create this important relationship between the Fincantieri Group, I'm saying Fincantieri Group, and the small and medium enterprises in India. When I refer to Fincantieri Group, obviously I'm talking also about the technologies that we have developed, the technologies where we are invested, where we are investing, that are the technologies that should be the response to this pandemic, let me say, crisis. Obviously, new energy, new measures against pollution, new green power, all these elements that now we are applying in all our vessels, not only on the civil vessels, but also on military vessels, So, summarizing, I believe that there are many opportunities to work to cope with the Indian demand and in the different segments. However, I believe that we will be successful the day that we will work on strategic partnership, not only related to the Indian market, but can have, let me say, opportunities in the export market, so in other countries in the region. We are trying to find the best strategic partner in Asia, because Asia obviously represents a big market for us, and I believe that India can represent a solid base for us to start with this strategy. You were mentioning that we started our collaboration more than 20 years ago.
Yep,
I believe that we've been successful doing programs together, and I believe that now we have to continue.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for the very positive insight. I'll come back to you as we move forward. We switch gears, bring in ship recycling. This is India. This is the capital of ship recycling. I think Sri Mehra, over to you right now.
I heartily welcome Ms. Avantika Singh, Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the GMB.
Mehra, sorry to interrupt. I think we need to bring in Mr. Harish Parmar now, because Avantika Singh she has requested for a change towards the later part of the session. We get in Mr. Parmar.
Yes, good afternoon.
I welcome Mr. Harish Parmar, Secretary, Ship Recycling Industries Association. This introductory video, please.
All ships, like other living things, have a lifespan. When they are no more seaworthy, their paint and powder are no longer bright, they have to be broken, and their useful parts have to be recycled for reuse. Considering the favorable parameters for beaching, methods such as a high tidal range, firm seabed, gentle seaward slope, and other parameters, it was decided to set up a ship recycling yard on the western coast of India in the Gulf of Cambay near Alang village. All the plot holders at Alang and Sosia are registered members of the Ship Recycling Industries Association India. The association represents the industry at all levels of state, national, and international forums. SRIA Welfare Center was created for a world-class infrastructure facility for the CSR and other integrated services. The entire project of Labour Housing Colony at Alang is jointly funded by the Ferrous Scrap Committee, SRIA India, and Gujarat Maritime Board. At present, ship recycling at Alang and India comply with the Shipbreaking Code 2013, which is a mirror image of the Hong Kong Convention 2009. Noting its level of compliance, its past development, in addition to proposed expansion, Alang represents the best in India's ship recycling. Plans are afoot in upgrading the existing environmental infrastructure at Alang with financial assistance from Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, Government of Japan, to be implemented from 2017 to 2021. SRIA aims to make Alang the best and preferred destination, maintain balance between price, viability, and performance, work towards sustainable recycling and capacity building, to join hands for exchange of technology and education, have a holistic view of various activities, invite all stakeholders to visit India and understand the ground reality. It is little wonder Alang is the numero uno ship recycling yard.
Now we have today Mr. Harish Parmar. He is the honorary secretary of the Ship Recycling Industries Association in India. He is involved in this activity of ship recycling since 1995 at Alang and has handled more than 110 ships. He served as an executive committee member and honorary joint secretary. He is also the executive member in the Federation of Ship Recyclers Association of India. Today, we are proud privileged to have Mr. Parmar. So before I request Mr. Parmar to speak on this occasion, I just want to highlight 3-4 points which all the attendees intend to know from him. One of the things is, how does SRIA plan to tackle the EU conventions? How can technology help improve the efficiency of the ship recycling industry? What are the plans of SRIA for increasing the revenue from the ship recycling? And what are the challenges faced by the ship recycling industry on account of the increased awareness and legislation on environment protection and sustainability? Now over to Mr. Parmar.
First of all, thank you very much for Ministry and Kochi Shipyard Chairman and Vice Chairman for holding this type of very nice event in this pandemic situation. I'm really heartily thankful to all of you. On your first question regarding this EU upgradation in the main problem, main thing which can be association and government can jointly do that, because voluntary all of our yards are HKC compliance certificate. Today, at present, out of all the yards, number of 34 ship recycling yard are classified with the class NK, 64 with the RENA, and 15 are with the IR class. And under process, somewhere around 32 yards is also in another process for the certificate of compliance, and within the 3 to 6 months, each and every yard will be compliant with the certificate of compliance. As far as your question regarding EU, how to upgrade means how does SRIA plan to tackle the EU compliance requirement? We found that ship recyclers, EU is recognized yard to yard, not by the association or not by the whole government. So upgradation of TSDF site up to EU requirement, it is the first and major part of the plan for the EU requirement. Second thing is hospital with trauma center. It should be run by 24/7, which also required by the EU. Third one is downstream industry, which is into which we supply our raw material, should also comply to the EU requirement. That is the biggest problem we are facing, our members are facing, because we cannot control our downstream industry as far as they're concerned with the EU requirements. So first, upgradation of TSDF site and hospital with the trauma center, that we can do with the government. Unfortunately, we are paying the ESIC crores of rupees yearly we are paying, but we are not getting the fulfill hospital and trauma center over here. It is our unfortunately, but with the FSDF fund, we can do more on that. Third one, what our requirement need to improve individual yard. That is 3 to 4 yards already. One of my colleague, Mr. Ritesh Agarwal is also with me, and Dr. Sharma is also over there. Both yards are trying to get the EU certification. But thing is, 2 or 3 points which I have raised, that is the biggest problem. And as far as this downstream industry controlled by the EU can be solved only by the government to sit with the EU and find the amicable solution for that. Number 2,
Parmar, we will come back on this. We have Mr. Anil Sharma here, and let me try to introduce Anil Sharma with a video. Very interesting person, because I think we need to introduce him with a video. Vicky, please. As we made for the video to come online, I understand Mr. Anil Sharma, originally from Bhavanagar in Gujarat, left India for something else. He left India to learn management, and later became a management professor in the United States. Just a minute. Vaidyanathan, are we having some problem with your content? It's not sharing, the video is not playing. Technical glitch.
We can go without video.
Yep. I think we can take out the video then.
Sir, I can start the video now. Just give me one more.
Oh, please. I think I'm introducing a little bit of a James Bond here. That's why, because without a video, it's difficult. Great. Thank you.
GMS is the world's largest cash buyer of ships for recycling. What motivated you to start GMS?
I think it is just trying to fill a need, of in the marketplace. So I was in US, as you probably know, I'm a professor in my past life, and I was busy teaching. And the US government was selling some surplus ships. And I was born and brought up in Bhavnagar, which is where ship recycling is done. And I knew a lot of people down there. And they wanted to buy these ships from US government. To buy ships from US MARAD, you had to be a US citizen or a US company. And said they could not buy these ships directly. So they started calling me. And I was saying, I have no expertise or knowledge of this business, so I can't do it. But as I started to study it a little bit more, and then my brother also got involved in ship recycling, I thought, let me try. And so it started something just by that I was lucky to be at the right place at the right time, as they say. And then I had to just exploit that opportunity. And coming from an academic background, I think I was a good student. So I studied the contracts well and how the whole program works. And the very first time we bid on the auction, we won. And then that gave us confidence. It became successful. Then I bid on the next auction, and I kept on winning on every auction. And the very first year I started this, we became the largest buyer of US vessels. And that gave us recognition.
Thanks for that video, Vaidyanathan. And we are talking about Dr. Anil Sharma. He is the founder and CEO of GMS, the largest cash buyer of ships and offshore assets in the world. And he has been ranked in the top 100 for several years now, according to the Lloyd's list. Can I have the, can you take off the profile, Vaidyanathan? Just as a jokingly to set the context, we thought Alang and Bhavanagar was in the news for buying for ship recycling because of its gentle slope and the hard strata down below. But I can say it's not just about that. There is something about what we in India call the Guju mind, probably, isn't it? So otherwise, somebody who just moves out from India to do management, acquires a doctorate in management, and suddenly starts going and buying ships all around, and today is the #1 ship buyer in the world. What's happening here, Dr. Sharma?
Thank you very much for that kind introduction. I didn't even realize I had a video there, but thanks for this. Like anything else, when opportunity knocks, you open the door, as simple as that. So, and for the record, I'm not Gujarati, I'm Punjabi actually, but so that's the best of both worlds. Born and brought up in Gujarat, but originally from Punjab. So then it's a killer
air
combination.
Can also impact. The air in Bhavanagar can also impact you.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that.
Coming to the brass tacks, we talk about responsible ship recycling. You buy some of the most precious assets worldwide for ship recycling from some of the best people who are concerned about the environment. How do you manage your global requirements with what is, see, Alang had a bad name in the past, while Alang was doing great things on the ship recycling side. But today, like what Alang is doing, what people like Parmar, Madam Avantika Singh is here, the Gujarat Maritime Board, how are we taking the responsible recycling forward? Hong Kong Convention, EU, can you throw your lights on how we take forward sustainable recycling into the future and take it very strongly?
It's a very important question, and it's let me see how best I can respond to that. So first of all, I think any of us who are in this world don't want to be involved in any business that pollutes or it causes harm to the environment or to the people. I mean, that's a fact. I don't think anybody wants to do that. The question is, what is the criteria we use to measure sustainability? I guess that's a new word, or responsible recycling, as you were saying. And how do you do that? And it's a matter of having an awareness and training. And I think the Hong Kong Convention is what started this whole, well, actually, let's go back to the Supreme Court, which is the Recycling Act that Mr. Parmar mentioned, which mirrors, and with the very first cruise ship that came to India, where the Supreme Court of India studied how a ship can be recycled responsibly. And then came the Hong Kong Convention in 2009, which took this thing to a global standard awareness. And then came, you know, the good yards of India, who took, under the leadership of Gujarat Maritime Board, took the initiative to go along with this. People like us who are in the outside world, you know, we are not brokers. We are actually intermediaries. So we buy the asset as is, where is. We take over. It's our crew on board. It's our flag. And now our job is to convert that, you know, combine the Western and the local, you know. I think you asked a question about EU. What I don't like about EU is a top-down versus a bottom-up approach. So what we have done is, I don't know how deep you want me to go into this, but in India today is the largest green ship recycling destination in the world, period. You know, there is no other country in the world
and you're clear that we can take this strongly forward, because at the end of the day, let's be clear, one is a business, any business we are talking about, but this is a business which generates something which India needs, maximum employment. So the social connect also is extremely strong. So you feel that with people like Parmar, Gujarat Maritime Board, and the government of India, the legislations we are talking, this is one industry which we can take very strongly forward, and good for the country and good for the world, because the world needs responsible recyclers.
I will give you, I like acronyms. So I'll tell you, I have this, you know, what is called the 3 R's plus the 3 E's. And why India is so good in recycling, it's not just, you know, what we need. You know, the 3 E's, I mean, is the economic impact that ship recycling has. The second E is the efficiency with which the Indian ship recycling yards can recycle a vessel, both the timeline and the safety and the so forth. And the third E is the E that especially in Europe we are very familiar with, is ESG, which is environmental, social, and governance aspects. What the Indian recyclers have taken all these three in, you know, and created a product that nobody in the world can match with. I mean, so that's number one. Second is our background as Indians, right? The 3 R's. You know, what is sustainable economy? Reduce, recycle, and reuse. And Indians have been always good at these 3 things, you know, to reduce consumption. So I think this is where India has excelled on the global stage.
No, I think we need to do some recycling tours these days. We're talking about heritage tours, Ayurveda tours. I think we can actually do recycling tours, because that stretch onto the Bhavnagar, Alang seafront, I think it's really worth a tour, in fact. But thanks, Dr. Anil Sharma, for some time. We'll try to come back to you. We again move on to shipbuilding, and this time with IHC from the Netherlands. Again, one of the leading groups in the world. Please, let's have the video.
Royal IHC, the technology innovator.
Thanks for the video and great company there. And the name Royal doesn't come lightly. It comes with more than 100+ years of significant knowledge and experience. And we have somebody here with that kind of knowledge on IHC and the systems, Mr. Robert Sapele, Director of Sales. We also have here Mr. Jaco Klebecht, who handles India in this part and is quite a frequent visitor to India. And I know he has also an eye for photography on the streets of Kolkata. So welcome, Robert and Jaco. And today, when the Prime Minister was inaugurating the summit, he was talking about how Indian ports should move forward. So I have a question on that, because on an average, the Indian ports are going to be deepened by 2.5 meters. We are talking about significant large ports coming up. So today, the Honorable Prime Minister was talking about the new port in Vadhavan, port in Paradip, and he was also talking about deepening of the ports. Dredging has been a core business for IHC, in addition to various other aspects. But purely from a dredging point of view, I'll ask both the questions and then probably you can try to answer it the way you want. There is enormous potential that's coming out. But today the Honorable Prime Minister also talked about something else. He talked about waste to wealth, which is something which we have been talking about. So whether it's sand or whatever we get out of dredging, if it can be used as value creation. And we understand, it's my understanding that it's IHC which has the only dredging research institute in the world. Can you actually come in as you call yourself a technology innovator? So do we get to see this entire technology gamut unveiling in India over the next, let's say, 10 years or so?
First of all, thank you very much, Mr. Madanai, for inviting us and having us in this conference. Thank you very much in the summit. Yeah, it's a very broad question. For sure, there is a big challenge in terms of dredging within India, specifically with the expansion and the deepening of all the ports that is in the planning. And that requires a large extension of the current dredging fleet, that's for sure. Yeah, reuse of the soil, depending on the type of pollution of the soil, it can be, of course, reused for all kinds of reclamation projects, extension of harbors, quays, jetties, and the like. And typically what we do here in the Rotterdam area is that if the soil is too much polluted, it will be dredged and stored in a safe place, in a controlled place.
Okay.
So a very broad answer to your question.
Okay. See, IHC has been one of the earliest European shipyards or groups active in India. I understand from last interactions we have had that your first outing in India has been 1926. Yeah. And practically the entire dredging corporation of India fleet is DCI vessels. If I'm not wrong, practically the Adani group dredging fleet is IHC vessels. Yeah. With such kind of involvement in India, and a dredging equipment, there are a lot of components which you procure from various sources. Could India be one of your major supply chains into the future? Because we have a lot of companies. We have the smaller MSME companies and the larger companies also. Is this something which IHC would be looking at, especially since today we are talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat? I'm happy that basically Cochin Shipyard and IHC has now formalized and understanding to build larger dredgers in India. But as we move forward, would we see components for your global systems to come in from India? Is that a possibility?
No. Well, yeah. As a matter of fact, we have been delivering to India, as you rightly say, since 1926. Since that time, we have delivered over 100 dredging vessels to India, and our initiative to source and or to build in India has started 10 years ago already, when we had our first, let's say, IHC settlement in India to be closer to our clients and to support them. And in recent years, we have increased the local production of components in India already, partly for our Indian customers, but also for customers elsewhere in the world, where we use the expertise that we have built up in India already.
Because I'm aware that like the earlier dredgers you brought into India for the Indian clients, these were predominantly either a Lloyd's classed or a DB classed. But over the years, you have developed close relations with the Indian Register of Shipping, the class IR, and today there's a seamless connect. So similar method is what I was actually thinking on the equipment side, and you're saying you're positive on that. Okay.
Absolutely.
Very good. I personally as MD CSL, I would like to see a strong cooperation between our companies. Just wait on the panel. Probably will come back, and I need to move on to India's classification society, IR class, and we have Mr. Arun Sharma here. But let's just have a look at the company.
Indian maritime industry is built on a robust foundation, and its glorious legacy is carried forward in today's digital age. Indian Register of Shipping, IR class, draws its strength from this rich legacy and stands tall as a leading international classification society and is your partner in maritime risk management. IR Class contributes to maritime safety and regulation through high-quality technical support, compliance verification, and well-funded research and development. IR Class has developed capabilities across a wide range of verticals, including marine, offshore, defense, marine technical services, industrial inspection and certification, management system certification, and maritime education and training. At IR Class, we help you to comply with new regulations and assist in managing your risks better by bringing solutions based on new technological advancements. Be it electronic certificates, electronic plan submission, cyber risk management, software solutions, and more, IR Class is at the forefront of digitalization in maritime. Positioning itself for the future, IR Class is continually paving the way for progress, setting standards for safety, environment protection, and tackling issues plaguing the maritime industry. With a strong team of experts, recognition from worldwide maritime administrations, and a global presence in Asia Pacific, Europe, and Americas, IR Class provides complete solutions for your requirements and is committed to be your partner in maritime risk management. For more
Honorable Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as IR Class, it is indeed a privilege to be part of this Maritime India Summit 2021. I am delighted to note that in this summit, special sessions have been accorded to subjects of shipbuilding, ship repair, ancillary industries, and also ship recycling, one of the more prominent areas which is emerging in the third world in the last couple of years. I think in shipbuilding, the fundamental areas one has to really focus on and concentrate upon are, which are relevant to any industry, the quality, the time, and the cost competitiveness. The other area which I think the sessions will dwell upon, the plenary and also subsequently I think in our meeting with the Honorable Minister, is the recycling area. And fortunately, with the involvement of IR Class in Alang in a major way, I think the recyclers were convinced and were more than willing to see that the standards with respect to quality, safety, environment protection were not only upgraded but brought to a level where they could be accepted internationally. The Indian Register is beyond a provider of guidance. I think we are actually partnering the recycling yards in Alang towards a better future. I'm sure these discussions today will be on shipbuilding and recycling will be both interesting and meaningful, and we are looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Indian Maritime.
Mr. Arun Sharma is Executive Chairman of IR Class, and he's one of the doyens in the Indian maritime industry. He has had a checkered career out at sea. He has been in global positions, and under his leadership, IR Class has become a full-fledged IX member. It's grown exponentially globally. And thanks, Mr. Sharma, for taking your time and being on the panel here. Let me get the benefit of your experience and long standing in the industry. You have actually built vessels in Korea, in Japan. You've been with various companies. If you would, you already mentioned in your speech that the three most important things what could take India as we move forward. But would you think there are a set of vessels which we could handle well for the global market and we can do well? to start off with. So you're on mute probably. You'll have to unmute your yeah, okay.
Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you. Thank you for having me here among some very distinguished luminaries. And indeed, it's a privilege to have IR class participating in the summit. As I have said that when we talk of shipbuilding in India, the general charade is, that we build very few ships. We don't have the expertise. We are less than 0.5% of the total world shipbuilding tonnage. I think let's look at the flip side, the more positive. If you go back, I will not go back to history, but I will go back a couple of years. And if you see the history of the Indian shipbuilding, INS Ajay was delivered in 1961, INS Nilgiri in 1972. Indian shipyards have been building submarines. Now the first aircraft carrier at CSL Cochin, the anti-submarine warfare corvettes at Cochin, ASW corvettes also at GRSC. I think there is, as far as the Indian shipbuilding is concerned, there is no dearth of what I would say capability, qualified workforce, infrastructure. I think all are there. But as I said during my couple of minutes, which I took away from you all, that the fundamentals in shipping, or rather shipbuilding, to compete with the world leaders would be quality, improved productivity, and the cost competitiveness. A continuous need to train and cope up with the fast-moving technology would be the key to acceptable quality standards.
So can I interrupt you here, because you talked about technology, continuously evolving technology, and bringing in that competitiveness. Because as a shipyard, what we have seen is, for example, these are EPC contracts, shipbuilding. You get into problems, you get into issues. Good planning, appropriate technology. Do you think, because we are having some of the leading shipbuilding groups in Europe here, we're having Mr. Nakacho from Japan here, who will talk a bit later. But are we talking about teaming? Can you do it alone, or are we talking about teaming up?
Madhu, a very, very apt question. In fact, what I have always believed in, that if you are not good at something, you feel you're not good at something, you would know who is good at it, And the next step would be, how do you collaborate with somebody who probably knows what you want to know? In operations, we have done it. I'll just give you an example. In a shipping company, we were running only tankers and bulk carriers. And somebody said that LPG is a phenomenal area to be getting into. Now, obviously, we did not know ABC of running the LPG ships. So what we did was, when we started buying the LPG tankers, we started telling the seller that we would need to buy your tanker along with your operational expertise. So can you loan us for a particular period, maybe your chief officer, your gas engineer to start with, maybe a second engineer, and they will actually be responsible for transferring the expertise of loading LPG, discharging LPG, carrying it in a refrigerated manner. So this basically is not transfer of technology, but
I understand, sir. I understand, sir. But to put it bluntly, because when you're talking about teaming up, we're also in a competitive world. At the end of the day, somebody feels that he is not going to give you his prized stuff. He's not going to just share things like that. We need to be very, very clear. We need to make very clear that what we are talking is creating win-win, long-standing partnerships. So what do we do? You know all the yards in India. You know all the people in India. And you're seeing people like Fincantieri, IHC, and Daman, Japanese interests here, like Mr. Nakacho has been with Kawasaki, has been with NYK, like Ketan's company has teamed up with Mitsubishi in the past. But how do we make sure that we take this long-term, sustained, in a spirit of win-win? what is the mantra here?
I think basically, you have to, whenever you talk of in a competitive environment, transfer of expertise or transfer of technology, there is a price to be paid. And I think fundamentally or at the base level, you have to be prepared for that. But at the end of the day, you have to see that what is it that you will get or what will you bring to the table? What will the collaborator bring to the table? And then get into an agreement.
Fine, sir. Fine, sir. Fine, sir.
You are able to something.
I got it. Probably let's go over to Larsen and Toubro Shipbuilding. Sri Mehra will take that. But this is one company. There is one group which all of us are proud. There's a group which has coined the word Imagineering India. So let's see how L&T looks at technology. Mehra, you can take this session.
Yeah, I welcome Commodore Ashok Khetan, the Managing Director and CEO of the L&T Shipbuilding. Can I have their video?
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Larsen and Toubro Shipbuilding is a wholly owned business of Larsen and Toubro Limited, an Indian multinational engaged in EPC projects, high-tech manufacturing, defense equipment, weapon systems, technologies, and IT services with over $21 billion in revenue. L&T is a true torchbearer of Atmanirbhar Bharat. L&T built Greenfield Shipyard at Kattupalli, covering more than 900 acres, was operationalized in December 2012. It is one of the best facilities available in India, having in-house design competency center and manufacturing facility for defense and commercial shipbuilding and repairs. At L&T, so far we have designed, built and delivered 70 ships and a floating dock in just 8 years of its operation. These are 7 OPVs, of which 6 have been delivered, 54 high-speed aluminum interceptor boats for Indian Coast Guard, and a floating dock for Indian Navy. First time designed and built in India. All of these have been delivered before time. Our exports include semi-submersible and heavy lift vessels to the Netherlands and ASTS, VSBs to Qatar, US Navy, and an African nation. I now take you through a short video showcasing our shipyard and various products.
Good evening, Mr. Commodore. Ashok Khaitan, he is a mechanical engineer by profession. He studied from the Sambalpur University and did graduation in naval construction from IIT Delhi. He has serviced in Indian Navy about 31 years. In L&T, he is credited with before time delivery of OPVs and ICGs and FDN2 to Indian Navy. Now I request Mr. Khaitan to specifically say about you are a Make in India company, how you can support the Indian small sectors, especially MSME sectors in shipbuilding, and what are the challenges ahead for them and support you can provide to them. And second is, what are the L&T's plan to help boost shipbuilding industry in the country as a whole? Over to Mr. Khaitan.
To boost, see, as a part of the Atmanirbhar Bharat, Larsen & Toubro has built such a large shipyard we just saw through a video. The main goal was to build advanced ships in the country. For this, we have got an inbuilt design house. We have a lot of manufacturing facilities as part of L&T, not directly in the ship being manufactured inside the shipyard, but as a part of the L&T. We built torpedo tubes, missile launchers, stabilizers, and various other equipments which are required on the shipbuilding. As far as MSME is concerned, we generally do take them on board for all indigenization of various components, various materials which are required and can be used on board shipbuilding. Regarding the boosting the shipbuilding in the country, we need to learn and assimilate certain successes abroad and within country, from the South Koreans and the Chinese in shipbuilding, and within the country from the indigenous shipbuilding program for the warships or military defense ships, and the automobile and our pharmaceutical companies. If we see that all these companies have been successful when they have made a focused and a action plan and have strictly followed that and have with a regular intervention of corrections as required. Government has played always a very important role in the form of formulating the rules, regulations, and various other measures. In my view, certain measures like that we can definitely consider government considering the shipbuilding as a strategic industry, providing the soft loans, long-term loans for shipbuilding to sustain its working capital, as shipbuilding has got a long gestation period. Shipbuilding in India can certainly take a lead, as we have a basic strengths in India. As IRS chairman also brought out, we have technical institutes, we have highly qualified engineers. Of course, they may need to be augmented with applicable technologies. We have got research institutes in the country. We have a technical base. We have got manufacturing industries. We have got small scale industries. Majority of the equipment, materials are being manufactured, as is very clearly evident from the naval warship indigenous programs. We have a design capability within the country. We have got a much cheaper workforce, the young and much cheaper workforce in the world. All this considered together, we can definitely have a plan of action to boost the shipbuilding within the country. Thank you.
Commodore Khaitan, let me just go over to Mazagon Dock also, and try to understand the aspect from the Mazagon Dock side. But can we have the video of Mazagon Dock here?
We are Mazagon Dock Shipbuilders Limited, the premier warship and only submarine building yard in India. The journey began in 1774 with the small dry dock for repairing ships of the East India Company, and since then, passing through various ownerships, MDL finally came under Government of India in 1960 to commence indigenous production of warships for the Indian Navy. The new voyage started with 6 Leander-class frigates built under license from the British Admiralty. The Leanders were followed by the Godavari-class frigates, the Kukri-class corvettes, 1241 RE missile boats, the celebrated Delhi-class destroyers, the Shivalik-class stealth frigates, and the P-15 class of stealth destroyers with anti-surface, anti-air, and anti-submarine capability and equipped with the state-of-the-art weapons and sensors. MDL continues its saga of indigenous warship building with the 4 destroyers of the P-15 Bravo class. These mighty warships will have the most potent combat systems, advanced communication suits, and powerful propulsion plants sourced from all over the globe and integrated by MDL to operate from a common platform. In addition, MDL is also constructing jointly with GRSE Kolkata the 7 highly complex P-17 Alpha class stealth frigates using integrated construction methodology. Mazagon Dock is the only shipyard in the country to have built conventional submarines. 2 MDL-built SSK submarines, commissioned in the early 90s, are still in service today. Presently, MDL is building 6 Scorpion-class submarines in collaboration with Naval Group France. The 4th submarine, Vela, launched May 2019, has commenced her trials. 5th submarine, Vagir, was launched on November 2020 and has commenced its sea trials, whilst the 6th submarine is presently in the advanced stage of outfitting. We have also built a variety of commercial and paramilitary craft. The last commercial vessels were 2 multi-purpose support vessels which were exported to clients in Mexico and the Bahamas. To keep up with changing times, Mazagon Dock has modernized its facilities to undertake modular construction. We are the warship and submarine builders of India. We make in India.
Thanks a lot. That's a great yard. India's most experienced warship builder, and as they say, the warship builder to the country. And Vice Admiral Narayan Prasad, accept my compliments for being in a position to lead India's warship builder. Admiral Prasad is a bachelor's degree in science from JNU and a master's in mechanical engineering, and trained in St. Petersburg for long. He's had a deep Russian understanding and has commanded various formations within the Navy, eminently decorated officer and highly experienced. Good to have you on this panel here. Shri Narayan Prasad, you are leading Mazagon Dock Shipbuilders. You have done both. You have designed your own vessels over the years, starting from the Leander classes, where we started off with the British. You come a long way with strong design and engineering capabilities. On the other side, on submarines, you teamed up with HDW in Germany long time back, and then now with the Naval Group. You handle both, teaming up and doing it on your own. As we move forward, how do we want to take things forward? Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India. We need things to happen in India significantly. There are reasons for it. Does it mean blanking out technologies or cooperations and collaborations from outside and doing everything ourselves and instilling some sort of a fear psychosis? Or do we take forward strong teaming up? Because just to put the context, today, Netherlands, I understand, is building 4 submarines. And what are they doing? They are teaming up. They have yards like IHC and Demen, but these are yards teaming up with the likes of Saab and others. So can you throw light? Because you're seen both sides. As a naval officer, you had deep understanding of the services. Today, heading India's Mazagon Dock Shipbuilders. Can you throw some light on this?
Madhu, thank you very much. A very vibrant good afternoon to you. As a part of the panel discussion, you have asked me a very long question, so give me some time to answer.
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Madhu Nair, Chairman, Managing Director, Cochin Shipyard Limited. Mr. A.K. Mehra, Deputy Chairman, Kolkata Port Trust. A distinguished fellow panelist, ladies and gentlemen, a very vibrant good afternoon to you. It is indeed my distinct honor and proud privilege to address this August gathering during the Maritime India Summit 2021. At the very outset, let me thank FICCI for this opportunity to share my thoughts on a virtual platform, even as we are as a nation in just limping position to normalcy in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. This plenary session this afternoon is slated to dwell on a very weighty and a multifaceted theme of shipbuilding, ship repair, and ship recycling. And these verticals have the potential for being the backbone of economy for a maritime nation like ours. The Indian shipbuilding, ship repair, and ship recycling industry plays a crucial role in the maritime sector of the country. This industry is key to bringing about economic prosperity for the larger number of people living in the coastal regions of the country by providing employment, increasing maritime trade, and helping promote ancillary industries such as steel, engineering equipment, and auxiliary systems, etc. Now, there are at least 6 factors that drive the growth of maritime sector: relatively cheap labor, long coastline, cargo traffic at Indian ports, increasing demand for oil and gas, enhanced force levels of Indian Navy and the Coast Guard, aging fleet. Now, all these together, I would like to draw your attention at the lurking potential in the maritime domain, which exists as far as India is concerned. Now, let me trace my steps with some numbers. A vast coastline spanning over 7,517 kilometers, having more than 200 ports, possibility of foreign distinct direct investment of up to 100% under the automatic route for port and harbor construction and maintenance projects, subsidy of rupees 1,624 crores for flagging, Recycling Act 2019 and accession to SKC, USD 12 billion global ship repair industry, where 98% of the market share still remains untapped. 1.1% of the global ship inventory is registered under Indian flag. The vistas opened by the Sagarmala project and enormous possibilities in inland waterways navigation, highly cost-effective human capital, trained engineers and technicians. With all these strength, sky's the limit for us to pursue on the triad of business opportunities knocking at our door, that is shipbuilding, ship repairs, and ship recycling. Now, coming to shipbuilding, the queries which have been put to me. Yes, it is true that technology is advancing at a very unprecedented pace. Even the nature of warfare is moving to unmanned systems, and accordingly, the war doctrines are being radically redefined, both in blue water and literal combat scenarios. I would say that the unmanned systems that are autonomous and riding on AI-enabled algorithms are becoming the order of the day, and disruptive innovations will come and hit the industry. Nevertheless, manned and physical platforms will continue to exist as means of power display and to serve as deterrence. Furthermore, historically, shipbuilding industry in the country has been very conservative, and changes are appreciated and absorbed only with protracted discussions. The Indian shipbuilding industry will need to keep pace with emerging technologies, and the design and building capabilities need to evolve to meet and match global standards with a number of green regulations stipulated by statutory regulations bodies like IMO. I see the need for a 3-pronged strategy as we look forward into the future. First, there are policy level initiatives that are required to be globally competitive. The market share in the global shipbuilding of India is meager 2%, which, while efforts are on to enhance the market share to 50% in the ship recycling space. Secondly, Indian shipyards need the requisite infrastructure, including water depth at the waterfront, for undertaking new build and repairs of a wide variety of ships. Thirdly, no time should be wasted for placing fresh order on shipyards who are at the peak of their learning curve with very specialized skill sets and niche domain expertise. Apart from the above, The talent pool available in the country needs training with the latest technological advancements and nuances of new building and repairs, refit and recycling being carried out worldwide. Second segment of your query is, how does MDL propose to maintain its lead position? And then I'll come to the third sector about the job sharing which is there. Now, I would just like to share that MDL has a rich legacy of constructing and delivering frontline war platforms for the Indian Navy and the Indian Coast Guard. MDL has played a pivotal role in the transformation that the Indian Navy has experienced today from being a buyer's navy to a builder's navy. MDL has built since 1960 796 vessels, including 25 capital warships and 5 submarines. In commercial sector, MDL has built 631 vessels comprising cargo ships, supply vessels, water tankers, tugs, dredgers, fishing trawlers, etc. Now, besides these, 63 offshore platforms, 3 process platforms, and 2 jackup rigs have also been built here. Out of these, 243 vessels were exported to Mexico, France, UK, Iran, Yemen, Mozambique, etc. Presently, we are executing an order book from the Indian Navy amounting to 7 billion USD. Having said that, to retain MDL's leadership position, my vision is to work on multiple fronts and pull these strands together. The precious human resources and their skill sets are very high learning curve, needs to be nurtured, and their skills are required to be honed through training that will keep pace with the technologies in the vogue. The second facet is to invest in R&D initiatives with industry academic collaboration to leverage technologies that are relevant to the shipbuilding area. MDL have already implemented some of the segments of the Industry 4.0, particularly virtual reality, product cycle management, and product data management. 3 AI-based products, namely AI-enabled ROV, AI-enabled robotic weld inspection tools that could be used by shipyards both in commercial and defense sectors, are being rolled out through this collaboration with one of the IITs. A new shaft alignment method using simulation software has been introduced with potential to reduce overall build period of a ship by 6 to 8 months. And this, of course, I am going to share with all the defense shipyards and also shipyards in the public domain. We realize that no defense industry can be self-sustaining enterprise without a fair volume of exports. In this regard, MDL is taking several initiatives to position brand MDL and brand India in the global market, especially developing economies, taking cue from the clarion call of the Honorable Prime Minister.
So I think I need to interrupt because we are I'm cognizant of the time aspect, but things are clear. You're saying that you will move forward. Technology and corporations will actually coexist. I'll have to move on to the next speaker, sir.
Thank you very much.
Next, we are moving on to a very interesting speaker. This is from Japan. We are having it, Mr. Nakacho and Mr. Mehra. Can you kindly take over?
Yes. Now we have Mr. Nakacho. He's Executive Officer of the Japan Marine Science Incorporated. Can I have their video first?
Please.
We have today, as a panel discussion, Mr. Nakajo, Executive Officer, Global Business Group under Japan Marine Science. Mr. Nakajo holds Director of Engineering in the Material Processing of Chemical and Material Engineering from the Moron Institute of Technology at JMS. Mr. Nakaji is responsible for overall supervision of various maritime, shipbuilding, and ship recycling studies and projects abroad and in Japan as General Manager. Before Mr. Nakajo can start speaking, I have got 2-3 small questions to him. One is, how can JMS contribute to the capacity development in Indian ship recycling yards? And JMS is the largest ship owning nation is Japan. So how can JMS assist in developing Indian ship repairing ecosystem to world-class level? And how JMS view the future prospect of ship recycling in India, basically seeing from the EU conventions, provisions, as well as HKC. Over to Mr. Nakajo.
Thank you very much, Comrade. Thank you very much, Deputy Chairman of the Kochi Shipyard. Thank you very much indeed. So yes, thank you very much for your question. So I'd like to explain my views.
Nakajo-san, your mic, can you have your mic a bit more closer?
Yep. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, better.
Okay, thank you very much. So about the 3 questions raised by you. So I'd like to explain briefly since time is constrained. So one is JMS, how can we cooperate with the ship recycling industry? As you say, the responsible ship recycling industry. As you know, Japan with the government agencies, cooperation with the government agencies, JICA, as you said, and also the Japan Ship Owners Associations, Classification Society, and private entities have been contributing to improve their ship recycling industries in ALAN exclusively since the early 90s, and also after the 2010, if I'm not wrong. So Japan has started to study to make the improvement plan, not only the yard itself, but also the TSD facilities to cope with the basically the HKC technical requirement, but not the EOSRR. So this is we have the in Japan. We have the 3, the very strong link, shipbuilding, and the ship machinery industries, and ship owners. We JMS is an affiliated company of one of the biggest ship line, NYK. So but in Japan we have lack of the ship recycling industry. You see, so the ship once is built, the ship should be operated, and the end of their life, so ship to be recycled. Then the new shipbuilding demand will be generated. So this is the, let's say, the circular economy. So the ship recycling is very important. We Japanese, all staff is understood. And also we understood India is the most well-managed, improved ship recycling industry they have. But still, the OECD countries, including Japan, want to make sure not only the technically but also the management phase. So we JMS as a consulting firm in the maritime industry, we would like to continue to improve by introducing the most advanced technologies. Mr. Haresh Parmar raised up the EU requirement for the upgrading of the TSDF or the downstream. Maybe our Japanese technology or the knowledge can be assessed. That is one. And the second one is
Nagajo-san, sorry to interrupt. Even I have a question for you, but before that, probably we have 3 of the participants who are to leave for another session right now. I would think that Dr. Anil Sharma, CMD MDL, and Commodore Ashok Khetan has to leave for the ministers' interaction. Just one question to Dr. Anil Sharma. Like what we are hearing, like on the ship recycling side, because one part is like as you say the downstream part, because ship recycling traditionally has been steel, quite a lot of steel coming into a recycling part. I've heard this question: can we actually get this steel into a better shape? Today there is a restriction in India that it cannot be used for the construction space. Do you think that this will actually help India get into better position on the recycling side?
Oh, it's a very hard question for me to answer. I think that's more of a regulatory, the decision there for me. I think for me to expand India's ship recycling capacity is infrastructure. I think we need to invest more and expand, and the yards have to be industrialized to a larger extent. Yeah.
Fine. I think we'll catch up, and in case there is a short presentation or something which you want to drop in, just later also you can just drop in here and we'll share it with the participants. I think those who have to leave for the minister's interaction can leave. I would need the others to stay back, Madam Avantika Singh and Nakacha-san also. Even I have a few questions, but if Dr. Anil Sharma needs to leave, thanks a lot, and please do leave.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bye. I understand, because I've been advised by the organizers that maybe Vice Admiral Narayan Prasad and Commodore Ashok Khetan may also have to leave. If you have to leave, please do so, or if you are waiting, please be comfortable. But can I take a question for Mr. Nakacho?
Thank you. Then should we leave then? Is it okay, Mr. Madhu? We can leave.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, because I've been advised by the organizers that the minister's session is starting anytime now.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nakacho-san, I can see that you're also helping out on the ship repair side with potential experts, also on the shipbuilding side, including. Can I ask a question like planning? Good planning and how you plan and execute a project is very important. Is this something, and Japan has done this, sort of perfected this? Is this something which you can actually assist the smaller yards in India, or even a yard like ours? Is this possible?
Yeah. So I'm not actually the representative of the shipbuilding industry of Japan. So, but so this is my private opinion. So a couple of years ago, we have studied, including India and Southeast Asia, and the Brazil also, shipbuilding market, in order to the continue the shipbuilding small industry in Japan. Japan used to be a biggest shipbuilding nation in the world up to the end of the 1990s. But now China is number one, second Korea, then third is Japan. So somehow the small shipbuilding builders in Japan has shrinked for the saturated domestic market, and they are struggling to continue their business. But since Japanese small shipbuilders have the good technologies, skill, and the accumulate of the designs, so the one way or another, so by the assistance of the commercial, by the assistance of the government, so it may deploy to the other countries, South Asia, India, or the Brazil. So what we used to make such a study, and I believe there will be the possibility to deploy It's
maybe
small industry.
maybe
Yeah.
my company may want to reach out to JMS. We'll talk that
Yeah. We know the Cochin Shipyard used to have the cooperation with Mitsubishi and HI. Yeah.
I know that. Yeah, personally, I've been into your shipyards in Korea and Hiroshima. So thanks for that. Sri Parma, you can move over to Madam Avantika Singh.
Yeah. I welcome Madam Avantika Singh, is CEO and Vice Chairman of GMD, Gujarat Maritime Board. Now, can we have their video?
There are no kings on the seas, only God is. However, when it comes to taming and tapping the sea, there are leaders and followers. Who, in the Indian context, are the leaders is a no-brainer. It is Gujarat Maritime Board, the maritime brand of India. These golden words of our Honorable Prime Minister are a reflection of the success story of Gujarat. Gujarat has been a torchbearer when it comes to almost all the path-breaking maritime milestones of the country. Development of Alang being one of them. No wonder Gujarat is the only place in India to have a cradle-to-graveyard concept for ships. Alang Ship Recycling Yard employs over 15,000 people directly and over 5 lakh people indirectly. The vast base of ship recycling operations require extensive social and physical infrastructure, and Alang has it all, be it roads, hospitals, housing, sanitation, or water supply for the workforce engaged in recycling activities. Earlier, when wooden-hulled ships were in use, they were simply set on fire or conveniently sunk at the end of their lives. This was no longer possible with the advent of metal-hulled boats in the 19th century. Maritime nations then started purchasing ships for recycling and thus began an organized industry worldwide. When the life of the ship turns a full circle, a part of it is reused or recycled. Looking at them, one wonders about cargoes they had carried, the ports where they had called, and crews that had sailed them. Sailing on the vast ocean, an infinite stretch of water, they move shore to shore. These water vehicles have their own stories. The chronicles of valor, endurance, labor, and luxury. Nevertheless, like any other story, their saga ends too. A teary-eyed goodbye, an emotional farewell, and these ships arrive at their last destination, the shipyards.
Mr. Mehra, you may take this forward.
Yeah. Can I have the profile of Madam Singh?
Yeah, it's flash. Mr. Mehra, it's flashed on the screen.
Okay. It is not visible actually.
I'll take this forward. Madam Ms. Avantika Singh is an IAS officer of the 2003 batch, and she is currently the Vice Chairman and the Chief Executive Officer of the Gujarat Maritime Board. A Bachelor of Engineering in Instrumentation and Control, and a Master's from the Howard Kennedy School. And she's been highly decorated. She has done great wonders, and the Election Commission of India has commended her contributions to the district electioneering process. Ma'am, welcome on board. And straight away,
I've got 2-3 questions to Madam Madhuji. Yeah, Madam, before you start speaking, 2-3 questions are there, especially how the government of Gujarat intend to develop Alang into a global, say, recycling hub by 2030, which is the vision in our MIV, Maritime India Vision. And what is the status of HKC compliance in the Alang? And how did GMB support sea-price air recycling industry during the COVID-2019 lockdown and beyond lockdown? Madam, over to you.
Thank you so much. First of all, before I address the questions which have been posed to me, I would like to compliment the session conveners, Mr. Madhu S. Nair, Shri A.K. Mehra, for making such a lively and interactive session. I've been listening to all your interventions, the presentations, and the preparation and hard work that you've put in is visible in such a well-conducted session. So my compliments to you and your entire team. Now coming to the questions that have been posed to me. Somebody just mentioned, I was listening to Dr. Anil Sharma when he said about the 3 R's and the 3 E's. So the 3 R's, when you talk about reduce, recycle, and reuse, is something that is showcased perfectly in Alang. And it is at the core of India's cultural ethos that not to waste anything and to convert waste into wealth. It's popularly said in Gujarat that if you want to furnish your home, all you need to do is visit Alang. And right from crockery to in furnishings, you can set up a whole household by just visiting one place in Gujarat, in the country, I may say. The Alang Ship Recycling Yard's journey started in 1983 with just 5 ships being dismantled in that year. And today, till now, more than 8,000 ships have been dismantled at this facility. But as has been covered in the other presentations, Alang used to be the largest ship recycling yard in the world. And today, in terms of volumes, Bangladesh has cornered the maximum share in the market. However, I must point out, again referring to one of the presenters, the term that they used, that Alang, Gujarat, and India is the greenest ship recycling destination. Our standards of compliance and our quality of processes is far superior to those of our neighbors in South Asia, who are also our competitors. But the government of Gujarat, with the support of Minister, is committed to regain and restore our numero uno position in the ship recycling industry in the world. We are on the verge of revising our ship recycling regulations, which is revised in every block of 5 years. And the idea is to collaborate with the trade and bring about investor-friendly regulatory framework in order to enable the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister of Atmanirbhar Bharat. We want to bring back this business to India. And the plan is to upgrade the capacity of our existing yards, to increase the utilization of the available capacity, and also to expand the facilities. We've already taken the environment clearance and planned additional 15 plots at Mathawara, a neighboring site. At the cost of 30 crores, the entire infrastructure is going to be developed. We're in the process of getting a study done to explore the possibility of adding further plots in the vicinity. Recently, operations at the Sachana ship recycling yard, which could function as a satellite yard, have been allowed to resume by the proactive initiative of our Honorable Chief Minister, Shri Vijay Rupani ji. I'm also pleased to share with you that 90 out of the 131 functional yards in Alang are already HKC compliant. And this was done much before India acceded to the Hong Kong Convention. While we focus on the trade, We also understand the difficulties that the crisis of the pandemic brought for this industry. And the government of Gujarat had announced a support and relief package of 19 crores to support the industry to tide over this period. If you analyze the figures from last year, by end of January, the number of ships dismantled at Alang in the same period till January of last year was 174, and this year it was 165 ships. But if you analyze the LDT, 1.61 million LDT is what we have achieved this year as compared to 1.37 million LDT last year. So, in fact, this pandemic has come as a blessing in disguise for the ship recycling industry, as though the number of ships have gone down, but large passenger ships, cruise liners like Marco Polo, MV Karnika, MV Grant, headed towards Alang for the end of their life's journey. I must put on record my appreciation for the grit and enterprising spirit of the shipbreakers fraternity, who braved this pandemic and, like true Gujaratis and the entrepreneurial spirit of Gujarat, turned this crisis into an opportunity. As announced in the Union Budget recently, capacity augmentation plans have been already underway. We also support the industry's goal of sustainable and green ship recycling, but keeping workers' welfare and well-being at the center is also one of our key priorities. Somebody mentioned the upgradation of the multi-speciality hospital to include a trauma center, CT scan, and modern facilities. I'm pleased to announce that the Gujarat Maritime Board's last board meeting has approved plans of 9 crores at the cost of GMB to upgrade these facilities and include these latest facilities and upscale the existing multi-speciality hospital. In addition to that, recently there were representations that the minimum required LDT to be covered in the last block could not be done by 18 of the plots. We made a special proposal and as a special case moved a proposal to get approval to regularize this, and instead of the very strict provisions in the regulation, we requested our Honorable CM to give a special approval to regularize this deviation in view of COVID and the other limitations which some of the yard owners felt in the last 5 years, and allow them to continue to function by imposing a very minimal penalty. We have also set up, along with the Gujarat CSR Authority, a special program management unit to streamline the welfare initiatives of the board in a systematic manner at Alang, with the help of the Ferrous Scrap Development Fund, the association support, and involving other stakeholders. In the end, I would again summarize and say that Alang has showcased how we could economize and use our entrepreneurial know-how to minimize waste, redeploy our resources, and try and regenerate and do the maximum possible from the available limited potential and resources which this planet offers us. We have also contributed to reducing the greenhouse gas emissions by replacing the processed steel to a large extent. I reach out to all the stakeholders and participants in this session today to partner with the Gujarat Maritime Board and help us take Alang and the ship recycling industry to new heights and to reclaim our #1 position in the world's ship recycling industry. Once again, thanking all the organizers, Vicky, and especially Mr. Madhu Nair for your time and your excellent conduct of this session, so professionally done. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. I think, Maharaji, we actually exceeded our time by about 25 minutes, 26 minutes. So probably I can see there are a few questions on the chat, but then I think we'll have to take this later. I actually wanted to ask a couple of questions, but then I think in the interest of time and the interest of everyone's present here, probably we need to wrap it up. Can I request Maharaji to say thanks to all our esteemed panelists here?
At the end, it is my proud privilege to offer a formal vote of thanks. This session has truly been enlightening and invigorating at the same time. I thank the Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways for organizing this session on shipbuilding, ship repair and ship recycling. I would like to thank all our esteemed speakers for their active participation in the event. I thank Mr. Mitchell Hendricks and Mr. Ravian Bahadur from Devon Shipyards for their insights on augmentation of shipbuilding in India. I express my sincere gratitude to Mr. Giardo and Mr. Asli Fulfaro from the Fincantieri for being our panelists. Their inputs on growth potential of Indian shipbuilding and technology will definitely lead to more collaborations in the sectors in days to come. I thank Mr. Harish Parmar, Honorable Secretary, SRIA, for joining us and throwing light on ship recycling and challenges and potentials of the sector. I also thank Dr. Anil Sharma, President GMS. Sir, it has been our privilege to have you as our panelist. We thank you for your valuable inputs on how to rejuvenate ship recycling in India. I express my gratitude to Mr. Robert and Mr. Jaco from Royal ISC for being our panelist. I am sure that the partnership between CSL and Royal ISC will be a milestone in shipbuilding sector in India. I thank Sri Arun Sarmaji, Executive Chairman IR Class, and Commodore Ashok Khetanji, CEO L&T Shipbuilding, for providing insights on involvement of private sector companies in the shipbuilding to make India a global shipbuilding hub. I am grateful to Vice Admiral Sri Narayan Prasadji, Chairman Mazagon Dock, for joining us and offering his opinions on defense shipbuilding. I thank Mr. Nakajo from JMS for being our panelist and offering his views on the Japanese ship recycling and ship repair ecosystem. I sincerely thank Madam Avantika Singh, Vice Chairman and CEO Gujarat Maritime Board. Her views on the upgrading the ship recycling ecosystem at Alang was indeed inspiring. Last but not the least, I thank my fellow convener Madhu Nayarji, CMD CSL, and the entire Cochin Shipyard team and FICCI for conducting this session. I hope with the guidance from the such captains of industry, India will surely be hub of ship building, ship repairing, and ship recycling in coming days. Thank you, one and all. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you.